On the crisp autumn morning of October 14th, 2014, a sense of unease gripped the tranquil neighborhood of Liberty Station in the heart of sunny San Diego, California. The sun's golden rays painted the streets with a warm glow, but something was amiss. Elizabeth Sullivan, a vibrant 32-year-old woman, had mysteriously disappeared from her residence, leaving behind her devoted husband, Matthew Sullivan, a former U.S. Navy sailor, and their two precious young daughters. Hi, and welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, please consider subscribing, as it helps us motivate to create more intriguing content for you. Let's have a look at the case of Elizabeth Sullivan. Elizabeth and Matthew first met in Virginia, where Matthew was stationed at a Navy base, and Elizabeth had grown up. In 2010, when Matthew was relocated to San Diego, they got married, moved there, and started a family with 2 children. Their love story spans from Virginia to California, a journey marked by devotion and the joys of family life. Elizabeth was last seen near San Diego's Liberty Station on October 12th, the day before she was reported missing. That day, she texted her family and friends a number of times, but when they tried to reach her later that evening, she had turned off her phone, making it impossible for them to contact her. Matthew called the police the same day to report that Elizabeth had removed all the money from their joint bank account. He confessed to being concerned that he would be falsely accused and detained. According to him, Elizabeth exhibited a penchant for transforming the bedroom into disarray and capturing the moment through photography. Elizabeth's friends and family started looking for her. To assist with the search for his daughter, Elizabeth's father took a plane from his home in Virginia to San Diego. Elizabeth's relatives could not understand why she would have departed without telling anybody. When Elizabeth and Matthew were arguing about child support and custody in March 2014, Elizabeth dialed 911. She admitted to the police that the marriage had a history of domestic violence and that she feared it would get worse. Lieutenant Mike Holden was determined to quell any potential speculation surrounding the disappearance, despite the prevailing uncertainty. He firmly stated, "We have no suspects or persons of interest in this matter. I want to emphasize that. There are now more questions than answers." Since there was no proof of any wrongdoing, such queries went unaddressed for nearly 2 years. Elizabeth's body was discovered floating in San Diego Bay on October 6, 2016, about a half-mile from her house. Tragically, Elizabeth had become the victim of a fatal stabbing. The extent of decomposition led police to suspect Elizabeth's body had been hidden somewhere before it had been dumped in the bay, and it took them an additional 1.5 years to gather the necessary proof and create a case against Matthew Sullivan. He was detained outside of his new home in Wyoming, Delaware. According to the prosecution's theory, Elizabeth was involved in an extramarital affair and had intentions of separating from Matthew. Matthew learned Elizabeth intended to take their money and kids and file for divorce while they were fighting their case. The prosecution informed the court that it was not a coincidence that Matthew was relocating from San Diego to Maryland with his new girlfriend on the same day that Elizabeth's body was discovered floating in the bay, 2 years after she went missing. The prosecution claimed that Matthew killed Elizabeth inside their house by stabbing and beating her. The 2 daughters, who were just 4 and 2 years old at the time, were in the next room when Elizabeth was found dead in her bedroom. The prosecution asserted that after concealing her body for over 2 years, he dumped it in the bay when he relocated to a new state. The knife that was used to stab Elizabeth was discovered in the attic of the house the couple occupied in the Liberty Station neighborhood, the court was informed. It had some of Elizabeth's blood on it when it was discovered concealed in the insulation. After Matthew left, police looked through the house and discovered it. Elizabeth's blood was eventually determined to be the mysterious stains that were discovered under the carpet in the bedroom. It was on the underside of a carpet in the bedroom, together with the padding and wooden floor. They ascribed her stabbing in the bedroom for this reason. Elizabeth was stabbed at least 5 times, shattering and nicking her ribs. Her jaw and nose were fractured. During the trial, the prosecution presented their case, suggesting that Matthew had various motives, the means to carry out the crime, and a significant opportunity. They argued that the bedroom was the location of the crime, and the murder weapon was discovered in the attic directly above Matthew's bedroom. For the jury's benefit, the prosecution described their relationship. They enjoyed a quick romance, but it ended in domestic abuse. That domestic abuse became more severe and resulted in murder. Elizabeth was allegedly having an affair. Elizabeth had registered with an internet dating service, and she had met a man there. She kept her marital status and family history a secret from the man. One day, the friend of the man noticed child safety seats in her car and became concerned that she would be leaving kids unattended somewhere. As a result, he reported her to the Child Protective Services. That's how Matthew learned about the relationship. The court was informed that Elizabeth visited a divorce attorney on October 13th, the day she was last seen alive. Nathan, a friend of Elizabeth's, spoke to the court. He testified that Elizabeth told him privately that she and Matthew had married for all the wrong reasons, and that she had perceived their union as being devoid of love. She was not content. Matthew learned of her extramarital involvement in September 2014. In the days before her disappearance, Elizabeth had conversed with a divorce attorney and transferred funds from a joint bank account to her personal one, as stated by Nathan in court. He asserted that this action added further strain to their marriage in order to prevent her husband from relocating his mother and sister into their marital home. Nathan informed the court that he was also pursuing legal action to obtain a restraining order against him. The court learned that on October 14th, Matthew visited a Home Depot location and purchased carpet cleaner. According to the prosecution, he killed his wife, cleaned the bedroom, and then kept her body in their garage's small freezer for almost 2 years. The cadaver dogs detected the freezer during the search of the house. Although it was empty, detectives thought its presence suggested a body that had once been inside. Elizabeth's body was discovered not completely decayed as it should have been, which suggested Elizabeth had been frozen for some time. The prosecution claims he relocated Elizabeth's body when moving house. He did not realize her body would float when he decided to throw it in the bay. The defense argued that the marriage had been failing since 2012. They testified before the court that while Matthew was trying to cling to his wife, she kept edging away in the direction of a self-destructive lifestyle. He was attempting to assist her. They said that Elizabeth was on a downward spiral that included drug use, cutting, and rough sleeping. Her companion admitted that he did methamphetamine with her on 2 separate occasions. According to the defense, Elizabeth had used a variety of drugs, including alcohol, marijuana, amphetamines, whiskey, cocaine, and fentanyl. The defense argued that the consequences of her drug use had been so severe that at times she would skip dinner, and they contended occasionally found herself sleeping in the park next to the bay. The defense claimed that Elizabeth inflicted the wound on herself after Child Protective Services created a file on her, which is why the strange flooding that was discovered under the carpet in the bedroom was not caused by a pool of blood after she had been fatally stabbed. She had wounded herself with a piece of shattered glass, according to Matthew, who discovered her bleeding in the bedroom. He wanted to call for assistance because she had many cuts on her arm, but she begged him not to. The defense maintained that Elizabeth herself most likely hid the knife in the attic. Matthew asserted that she routinely cut herself as part of her self-destructive behaviors and did it whenever she was under stress. The defense made it clear to the jury that the prosecution's assertion regarding Elizabeth's body being stored in the freezer was mere speculation, lacking any supporting evidence. In October 2014, Matthew made a request for his mother, her boyfriend, and his sister to move into their home, primarily to provide assistance with child care. He expressed a strong desire to support and help Elizabeth, indicating that he did not wish for her to leave. This information was presented in court. Matthew's background included 8 years of dedicated service in the Navy with no prior arrests or criminal record. After deliberating for a day and a half, the jury ultimately found Matthew guilty of second-degree murder. Subsequently, the judge sentenced him to a prison term of 16 years to life. What do you think of this case? Let us know in the comment section below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for future updates. Thanks for watching.